So we're going to have a very quick look now at the 8Dio Ukulele Strummer. This is a patch that's been around for a while, but in a recent 8Dio sale, they were giving this away to anyone who spent more than a couple of $100, and I got hold of it. So I'm just going to go a quick run through it and show you what 8Dio Ukulele Strummer does. For those who haven't got it, this is what you're missing out on. And for those who have got it, well, you know this, so you're probably not watching this video. But anyway, ukulele strummer, what is it? It's a strummed ukulele. Simple as that. It's not like some of the other ukulele libraries that I've got elsewhere on my YouTube channel, which you have to play yourself. So they've got an up-down strum and maybe some other little noises. This one has a series of pre-recorded sequences, and you select the chord you want to play, you select the major, minor, variation, etc. And then you hit the keys and it plays a loop for you. I'll just go through the GUI in a brief for you now. What you've got is you've got the chord select down the left-hand side here, and don't get excited. It says here major, minor, major 7, minor 7th, diminished 7th, etc. If you look really carefully, you have to select all of them to make them work. If you don't select all of them, you get very disappointed like I did when you load this up for the first time. And the preset patch, the patch that you buy and comes to you as a download, only has the major and the minor activated, and the rest are not activated. And I got very upset that I just got majors and minors. So when you load the patch the first time, little ticks on these little holes here. It's a big patch, 1.8 gigabytes in total, but then you can obviously get rid of the ones you're never going to use. But it's nice to have them if you want them. So that's the chord select. On the second side here is the rhythm select, and this allows you to choose up to 12 different rhythms, and then a final ending chord here, which can also be controlled through velocity. And you've got, if you've got any of the other 8Dio instruments that have the loops, you'll notice these are very similar. In fact, they're the same names as are used in the guitar strum libraries, which is actually nice because they do work at the same time, so they do sound quite nice next to each other. But it does limit your palette somewhat. But anyway, we've got campfire, open chug, etc. And then you've got a mono option, so that only monophonic notes can be played. It saves you hitting multiple notes and making a right mess. There's the X legato or the cross legato. So if you're halfway through a phrase and you move from a C to a D, it'll transpose from the C chord to the D chord halfway through a phrase, which makes life nice and easy. You can slow things down by half or speed things up by 2. You can ignore this little cable, it does nothing. Ignore the input box, that does nothing. Down the bottom here, you've got a velocity end button. So if you hit a key really hard, it plays a final strum chord, and you can turn that on and off using the switch here. These switches are all MIDI learnable, of course, and these are all key switches. And then you've got fret control. This is the noise of the frets. You can have more or less by choosing more or less on the amount knob, and you've got a volume knob, which allows you to control the volume of the more or less frets. So where do the key switches fit in, and how on earth do you control all this lot? Well, down the bottom, you've got a couple of red octaves up here and down here, and they are your key switches for controlling the chord select, and they are these bottom octaves. So if you see me hitting the notes on the keyboard here, I'm selecting the different chord types there. And then there's a central octave, this one here, the blue octave, and they are the chords that you're playing. So this would be B, C, D, E, etc. And then you've got the red section at the top here. It would have been nice if this was a slightly different color, but anyway, this red section at the top here selects the different rhythms. So if I start by selecting a rhythm, you can see I've chosen open chug, country, etc. And that's chromatically controlled. And the last one is obviously the end, and that plays nothing. Okay, so let's go back down to campfire, and let's just hit a note of C, middle C. There we are. It plays a bar of a nicely strummed ukulele. They're very clean. They're very nice. I don't know if you heard that, but there was a little bit of fret noise there at the end. They're very clean. They're very nicely recorded, and they are very well recorded in sync. So if you press 2 chords one after the other, so C to F, let's be very boring. They synchronize really well, and as long as you remember to press the note, they start up. I was a little disappointed with this that it didn't loop. I was kind of hoping that if you pressed the note and held it, it would just carry on playing that chord, like many other libraries do. I do wish they'd do that, at least have a hold function, so you can just go on with other things and let it strum away. But anyway, you've got that option, and these chords, these rhythms are really quite nice. So that was Campfire. Let's just do Pop Chug. And then Honolulu Chug. So very nice. You could probably hear the frets there. So I'm going to turn this fret up really loud and lots of it. And you'll hear if I choose Interlude now and just play some chords, you should hear these little squeaky fret noises coming in. Remember the strings of a ukulele are nylon, so they have a very distinct fret sound. There it is. So you heard that little fret noise in there, so let's turn that back down again and turn the amount down as well. So they're the loops. You've got 12 of them. If you run out, that's it, you've run out. The end is quite nice. If you hit a key really hard, it just plays a sustained chord, and you can trigger that as well using the end trigger, which is the C up the top here. So if you can be playing in the middle of a rhythm, which is quite nice. The cross legato is quite fun. So if I'm in country and I've got cross legato and halfway through that chord I want to change keys, so let's go from C to F again. That works quite well. Slight weirdness going on there, but it'll be covered up, I think, by the rest of the track if this is going to be an accompaniment. So that cross legato works really well. And then you've got the chords. So at the moment, you see this one octave here just gives you majors, because that's because major is selected. And you can select your chords down the bottom here. So this is a major chord, a minor chord, major 7, minor 7. Let's go up to augmented. Whoops. Fun. Sustained fourth. If I can work out where it is. There it is. There we are. So if you're quick and you do some quantizing and you're good at key switching, you can either program those in, I guess, or play them in real time. You've got full control and you can get a pretty good little strummed in the background ukulele just doing its thing, which is brilliant. I think it's quite fun. I'm glad I didn't pay for it, but it's nice to have a ukulele that can strum away. As I said, I think the limitation is the number of loops and also the fact that you have to keep pressing every bar to trigger a loop. That can be a bit boring if you're just trying to lay something down quickly. In the effects section, you've got a filter which you can sweep with a low or high pass, and you've got an ADSR envelope for your filter too, which is quite nice. It's got a low, mid and high sweeping EQ, which is quite handy. It's got this degrader thing, and I can't stand the degrader thing. It basically is just a bit crusher and adds a whole lot of tube distortion to your ukulele. I don't mind that much. You've then got a delay line here, which is either on or off, which gives you some nice delay, and you can obviously put a filter on your delay as well, which is quite nice to enable you to just kind of give a bit of ambience to your sound. And the beautiful people at 8Dio have given you a number of presets, not a huge amount of presets, but just a few presets to keep you going. So that's quite a nice handy thing to have. So that is it. That is Ukulele Strummer. It's quite an interesting plugin. It will be featuring this year in many tracks that I do, simply because I've got it, and it's something worth using.